Hey there, this is Richie. I'm here with your Saturday previews for the college football. Let's jump into it for week 11, I think this is, whatever it is. Alright, the first game, Ohio State, Michigan State. This is kind of an interesting one because Ohio State, they're really good on offense. They've kind of been underperforming the last few games. They beat Nebraska barely, but 36-31. Now, Nebraska's way better than what their schedule or their record shows. But Ohio State still, they wanted to be a national championship team. They don't look like one right now. Michigan State, they're always tricky. It's at Michigan State. Michigan State has the number one run defense in the country. They have one of the best defenses just overall in the country. Unfortunately, though, I think the edge will go to Ohio State here. I think Michigan State, their quarterback situation is a little... They have a decent quarterback in Brian Lewerke, but he's kind of been injured, and they're kind of going to their backup and stuff, too. So, I don't know... I don't know if Michigan State can pull this out. So, I think Ohio State will win. It's an interesting one to keep an eye on, I would say. But I think Ohio State comes out with the win in that. I'm just trying to find where... Yeah, okay, there. South Carolina at Florida. Florida just got killed the last two games. South Carolina is coming off a great win against Ole Miss, back and forth. It was a fun game. My head says go with South Carolina because Florida just doesn't look good. But I'm a Gator fan. It's in the swamp. I think Dan Mullins is a really good coach for Florida. I think maybe we bounce back a little bit and we should hopefully we get a victory. So I'm going to go with Florida with that. And there's a lot of games that it'll be interesting, so that'll be a good noon one. Navy, UCF. UCF's coming off a nice comeback win against Temple. They showed they can put up the points. Their defense in the second half of the Temple game was great. Now, normally, Navy has been... They're 2-7. They're not going to make a bowl, which is unusual for them. I think they made like 15 bowls in the last 16 years or something awesome like that. But this year, they do present a problem with their triple option offense. They always do. But they've been different this year. Not as good. Even I don't know, just not as good. Plus, UCF, oddly enough, they kind of benefited because they played last Thursday. So they actually had like 2 extra days to prepare for the triple option than they normally would have. Maybe 3 extra. And then UCF's offense is just too good. They have way too much speed for the Navy defense. So it's a noon game. It could be a problem because it's kind of a, quote, early game. But I don't see this being much of a problem. I think UCF probably... they should roll in this one, which I know I say that, but I don't see any reason why they don't put up 50 more, and I don't see any reason why they can't be up like 24-7 at halftime, 30-27, 28-7, something like, just kind of in control of the game. So I think UCF will win there. TCU, West Virginia. Fortunately, TCU is kind of down this year, and West Virginia is coming off a great win against Texas. Will Grier, he's still fringe Heisman, at least one of the best quarterbacks in the country normally. TCU just doesn't have really anything going right now. Like, their offense isn't as good as it has been. I think West Virginia should win, and I wouldn't be surprised if they win big in this one. Wisconsin, Penn State. That's a good noon game. Penn State's coming off. They were embarrassed by Michigan. They have that pride. It's at Penn State. Wisconsin, kind of all they have going for them is Jonathan Taylor at running back. He is one of the best running backs in the country, but their quarterback situation is kind of Wisconsin usually plays decent defense. This could be a pretty good game, potentially, but I think Penn State they bounce back. Trace McSorley's too good. They have way too many weapons on offense. And defensively, they're okay enough that even if Jonathan Taylor gets his 100 yards, which he pretty much always does, except one game this year, I think, that's pretty much all Wisconsin has. Now, granted, that's all Wisconsin always has, and they still figure out a way to win. So that'll be an interesting one. I think Penn State needs. I mean, they know it's Wisconsin. Wisconsin isn't a scrub. That'll be a good game to watch though. But I think Penn State ends up pulling it out. Ole Miss and Texas A&M. This will be a good one. This will probably be a shootout. Ole Miss has a great offense toward Jordan Ta'amu, a quarterback. You got two really good running backs on both teams. You got Kellen Mond at quarterback, Texas A&M, who's good himself. You got two great running backs, Trevion Williams on Texas A&M, and Scotty Phillips, I think is his name, on Ole Miss. Ole Miss has all the receivers in the world. A.J. Brown, Texas A&M. I mean, both are pretty even, like defensively, offensively. I think this probably will be a close game. It could be another shootout, maybe in the 30s, something like that. But I think Texas A&M ends up on top. But that really could go either way, in my opinion. All right, Akron taking on Eastern Michigan. Another tricky MAC game. Akron. I mean, either team could win this one. Akron, they're always kind of, last couple of years, they're kind of tricky. They kind of, they at least play the decent teams close. Eastern Michigan is the same way. But I'm giving the edge to Eastern Michigan. Eastern Michigan's 5-5. They're trying to get to a bowl. They always play good defense. They pull out just enough on offense. Excuse me. To win, and I think they get it done. But this one could really come down to like a last-second field goal, last-second stop, like a 19-17 win for Eastern Michigan, or some like close score in that one. Tulsa and Memphis. To me, this should be Memphis. Darrell Henderson, one of the best running backs in the country. Brady White, one of the best quarterbacks in the group of five, in my opinion. They got the receivers. They got all the offense. Tulsa, they've shown they can do something on offense a little bit. They have a decent running game with Corey Taylor second and Shamari Brooks, but I would be surprised if this were close. Memphis is 5-4. They're working for a bowl game. Tulsa's 2-7. I mean, they clearly want to win because it's competition. They want to win, but I think Memphis kind of should end up with that, and it might be a game for the half, maybe through three quarters, but I think Memphis wins by like 10-14, maybe like 17 or something. SMU and UConn. SMU's coming off a nice win against Houston, and I guess we should have seen that coming. They've played some really good teams. They almost beat Cincinnati. They lost to them in overtime, and they've shown some stuff. And UConn, unfortunately, all they have is David Pindle now. He's a really good quarterback. He's run for 934 yards, so he'll get 1,000 in this season. He'll probably get it. He needs only 66 yards. He'll get it in like one play against SMU. But I've been saying the same thing about UConn all year. That's all they have. If maybe next year they can give them something else, UConn could be pretty decent, at least bowl decent. But SMU, they're 4-5. They want to get to a bowl. This is a must win. They must win for them, and I think they will get it here. If UConn keeps it close, it'll be because of the quarterback. But I don't know that they can necessarily stop SMU. At least right now. Ben Hicks is a really good quarterback. Underrated. People don't really know a lot about him because SMU's kind of been under the radar, but Ben Hicks is good. So I think SMU goes there. All right, the Sunflower Showdown, I think it's called, in Kansas. Kansas Jayhawks against Kansas State. Oddly enough, both of them potentially could go to a bowl. They're both 3-6, which means they have to each win out. So whoever loses this, it's a rivalry game, and whoever loses it eliminates the other team from bowl possibilities. That being said, Kansas leads the nation in turnover margin. They have a pretty decent running back in Puka Williams Jr. They have some players. They've been pretty competitive this year. Like like I said, they won through the fact that they could even maybe make a bowl. Is improvement for Kansas. Kansas State, unfortunately, they've kind of underperformed this year. Normally, they're a decent like bowl right on the edge. Normally, instead of 3-6, basically around this time, they're like 5-4, something like that. 4-5 maybe, but like usually like 5-4. Just kind of sneaking into a bowl, if not better, every few years. They jump up and win like 10. But Oddly enough, they have a really good running back in Alex Barnes. They always have a good defense, good special teams. This will be kind of just interesting one to watch. I'll keep an eye on it. I'm actually gonna go. I think this might be the first time this year that I picked Kansas, unless I picked them early in the season or something. But I'm gonna go with Kansas. I think they can force some turnovers. I think they can do something maybe on offense a little bit. But that's kind of a coin flip. But I'm going with Kansas there. All right, BYU and UMass. This is, I mean, like I keep saying they're interesting. They're like, on paper BYU should win, right? But BYU, you got to remember traveling. They got to go from Utah all the way to Massachusetts. They have a pretty good passing game. Last week, their quarterback passed for 540 yards. They have a good running back. Andy Isabella is one of the best receivers in the country. He leads the nation, if I'm not mistaken, in catches and yards. I mean, he had 303 receiving yards last week in one game. The record is 405. So this is a tricky one. I wanted to sort of go with UMass. I wouldn't be surprised if they pull it out, but BYU think talent-wise probably is a little more. UMass, they'll keep it close for sure. I think the first half they might even be leading, maybe in the third quarter. But I think BYU kind of ends up, coming back a little bit, and they're both kind of looking for bold possibilities. BYU is 4-5, UMass is 4-6. So, they're both going to be motivated. They both want to make a bowl. But I think BYU in the end pulls this one out. But that's kind of an interesting one to kind of keep an eye on for scores anyway. And that. All right, another noon game. Army against 1AA Lafayette. This is all Army. Army's 7-2. They're one of the best running games in the nation. I don't see this being even close. They could put up 50, win like 52-0, 52-7, 52. I don't know, 49 is I think Army just goes away with this. Vanderbilt, Missouri. Missouri showed something last week going into Swamp, beating Florida. They're only one win away from getting to a bowl game. Vanderbilt's always kind of, the past few years, they're kind of sneaky. I mean, they've always actually been pretty sneaky tough to play, even when they weren't really, when they were kind of really bad. I mean, they have 4 wins. I'm giving the edge to Missouri, though. I think Drew Lock's a decent quarterback. I know talk crap about him in the beginning of the year. Because mainly, it wasn't even about him. It was their offense coordinator, which I'm ended up being right about. I'll go on that later. But Vanderbilt has some. Keyshawn Vaughn's a really awesome running back. He'll play in the NFL for sure. He's a transfer from Illinois, and he's fast. He can run it. He can catch it. Whatever. He's good. But I don't think that's enough to keep up with Missouri in this game. I think Missouri, it's in the zoo. I think Missouri ends up with that win. That could be a sneaky good game, but I don't know. I think Missouri should win and get to a bowl there. All right, Illinois taking on Nebraska. Nebraska, coming off a hard-fought loss to Ohio State. Illinois just trounced Minnesota. Their running game got going. They put up 55. This could be an okay game. Illinois, they're 4-5. They want to get to a bowl. But it's at Nebraska. Nebraska, they have a really good quarterback in Adrian Martinez. He's only a freshman, and he's going to be great, in my opinion. Both teams have good running backs. Illinois is Reggie Corbin. He's run for 952. He'll get 1,000 probably in this game. Divino Zigbo, the running back for Nebraska, he'll probably get over 1,000. I think he needs 100 to 200 yards rushing, which he could get in the game. Who knows? But that being said, I think it'll be okay for a while, but I think Nebraska should end up with the win there. All right, Maryland and Indiana. Maryland, they lost last week. So I feel it was a wash. Everything they dealt with their coaching situation now. They have all week to prepare with very little, not many distractions. At least they shouldn't. They got to take on a pretty decent Indiana team. Indiana's 4-5. They want to get to a bowl. They have good, running back Stevie Scott. They have a pretty decent quarterback in Peyton Ramsey. Both teams are kind of similar in ways. Indiana's more geared towards passing. They can run it, but they're kind of more geared towards passing. Maryland has a good running game. And I think Maryland bounces back from the loss to Michigan State, though. This is kind of a coin flip, but I think Maryland gets it, and they will become bowl eligible with that. Get to 6 wins. All right, North Carolina at Duke. North Carolina, their record's 1-7, but man, they after the first like 3 games this year, they've been in every game. Their offense has actually been pretty decent, or at least their team. They somehow, even if their offense sputters, they somehow find a way to put up points. Like last week, they lost 38-28, and that was with their quarterback throwing 3 interceptions, no touchdowns. I think they got like 1 or 2 offensive score like touchdowns. They figured out a way to somehow get to 28 points. Duke's coming off a nice win. They went to Miami. First time I think they won in Miami since 1976. Daniel Jones is a pretty decent quarterback. Deion Jackson's a good running back. This will be a good one. Probably back and forth. I kind of wanted to lean towards North Carolina just because of how they've been playing. But I think Duke in the end wound up winning. But the North Carolina games seem to come down to the wire, and this might not be different, but I'm gonna go. I think Duke goes there. Troy, Georgia Southern, big game in the Sun Belt. Troy's 5-0 in Sun Belt. Georgia Southern's 4-1 in the Sun Belt. They both got 7 wins. They're both 7-2. Georgia Southern has one of the best. They run a triple option running game, so they have one of the top 3 running games in the country. Troy usually has a pretty decent offense. They got B.J. Smith at running back, who's got 860 rushing. They have I think Sawyer Smith, because they had 2 quarterbacks. One was they had Caleb Barker and Sawyer Smith. I think Sawyer Smith has been playing the last couple of games, but either way, they're kind of like 1 and 1A at quarterback. Georgia Southern, they lead the nation in, or at least they did lead the nation. They're one of the top teams in the nation in forcing turnovers. This will be good. This will be. It's at Georgia Southern. This is a coin flip. This is one of the games of the Sun Belt. I know a lot of you, or anybody that might be watching, you prefer the big highlight games, but I'm telling you, if this were like in the Big Ten, this is where game day would be. That's how big this one is in the Sun Belt. This should be close. I'm gonna go with Troy. I think Troy has, they won 10 games each of the last 2 years. They've been here before. I mean, Georgia Southern, they were here there a couple years ago. They know what they're doing. I'm going to go with Troy, but I kind of want to go with Georgia Southern. Like I said, it's flip, whatever. But I think I'll go with Troy. All right, North Texas and Old Dominion. North Texas, a really good CUSA team. They're 7-2. They have Mason Fine at quarterback. They have one of the best running games, in the nation. Old Dominion, they have a decent, possible running game. Blake Rusick can throw it around. They have 2 really good receivers in Jonathan Duhart, and I think Travis Fulgham is the other one. They each could get over. Excuse me. They each could get over 1,000 yards by the end of the season. In fact, Jonathan Duhart's got 847, so he could get it this game. This potentially could be a high-scoring game, but I think Old Dominion, they can't stop North Texas. So I think North Texas goes out with that one. UCLA taking on Arizona State. Arizona State's coming off a huge win, demolishing Utah, which, Arizona State's got some Manny Wilkins at quarterback, N'Keal Harry, best receiver in the nation. Benjamin's already got over 1,000 yards rushing. They have a really good, nice offense. Their defense usually is pretty decent. UCLA's kind of turned on a little bit lately. Joshua Kelly at running back. He's been on a tear. Awesome in the last few games. But I think this will come down to Arizona State. It'll be at Arizona State. UCLA's quarterback situation between Wilton Speight and freshman Dorian Thompson-Robinson. There's potential. Robinson, he might be good in the future, and he could be good in this game. He's had highlights. But I think Arizona State's 5-4. They're trying to get to a bowl. UCLA is not bowl. They're 2-7. They can't get to it. They're playing for pride right now. But unfortunately, I don't think that's enough for this game. Arizona State should win. Charlotte, Marshall. Marshall's 5-3, looking for a bowl. Charlotte's weird. They're second year in the FBS. They're only 5th year in existence as a football program. They're actually 4-5. They're the number 6 run defense in the nation, or at least they were going in Tennessee, and they only held the Tennessee Volunteers to 20 rushing yards, only 14 points. Charlotte has a pretty good running back in Benny LeMay. He's got 826 rushing. Um, they could hold their own here, but Marshall, their offense is usually at least decent enough. They usually have a pretty good team overall, and I think they get to their 6th win here. But that's interesting to me. I'm in a weird underdog sort of way, sort of rooting for Charlotte, kind of. Like I said, they're a really young program, and if they were to get a bowl, this would be a big win for them. Because Marshall usually has always kind of been one of the better sort of group of 5 schools, quote unquote, even way back when Byron Leftwich was at quarterback and Chad Pennington back in the late 90s, early 2000s in the MAC. So this would be a nice feather in the cap for Charlotte. So that'll be one I'm gonna keep an eye on for sure. But I think Marshall probably ends up in the end. All right, Liberty and Virginia. I'm telling you, Virginia, watch out for this. Liberty, I've been calling them out all year. They're in that transition phase to get to a bowl game this year. They're 4-4. They got Stephen Calvert at quarterback. They have Antonio Gandy Golden at wide receiver. Frankie Hickson at running back. Virginia, now you got a good defense. You got Bryce Perkins. You got Olumide Zaccheaus. You got Jordan Ellis at running back. I'm just saying, man, Virginia should not take them lightly. I almost actually want to pick Liberty for this little upset here. I want to, I do, but you know what? I'm gonna go in the end to Virginia. The talent is clear there, but the offense that Liberty has, the potential they have. Wahoo fan, whatever you call yourself, fans, Cavalier fans. You guys, if anybody's watching, you guys need to be. Hope your team is on their game, and they're not looking past Liberty, because Liberty could jump up. Upset alert on that one for sure. All right, Middle Tennessee State taking on UTEP. UTEP's been in a lot of games. They finally won a game last weekend after losing 20 straight in a row. They finally won, and they have a pretty decent team actually. Record-wise, they're not good, but they've been really competitive. They almost beat some good teams before last week. They finally got off the schneid with that. Middle Tennessee State, they're 6-3. They're 5-1 in the CUSA. They're trying to fight for a CUSA championship. Brent Stockstill, one of the best quarterbacks of all time, statistically, top 25 all time, somewhere in there. But this will be interesting. It's at UTEP. They got to go to West Texas. It's always a weird, tough place to play. Not because UTEP's usually been good. It's just sort of location-wise kind of tough to prepare for. This is interesting. I'm going with Middle Tennessee though. I think they still have a better overall team. This could be close for a little while, maybe half or whatever. But Middle Tennessee should win. I wouldn't be surprised if they only won by 10 or something like that though. All right, Bowling Green, Central Michigan. Bowling Green's kind of been underperformed. They've been in a bunch of games. They have a really good passing game. Jarrett Dagate, quarterback, is pretty good. Really good, actually. Scott Miller, one of the better receivers in the nation. Central Michigan just can't do anything at all. Offense, defense, they I hate to say it, but they can't do shit. So Bowling Green, I wouldn't be surprised if they blow them out. So Bowling Green, I'm going to go with that one. Mississippi State and Alabama, on paper it looks good, but Alabama, Mississippi State, Nick Fitzgerald's a good quarterback, a good SEC quarterback. I can't even fake Mississippi State could keep it close. They won't. Alabama will be up 21-0 after the first quarter. It's going to be a blowout, Alabama. And that one. Michigan taking on Rutgers. Again, blowout. Rutgers sucks. Michigan showed something against Penn State. They kind of proved something to me. Karan Higdon, one of the best running backs you guys don't know about. He's only 37 yards away from 1,000, which he'll get in one play probably. Shea Patterson, after, he's kind of filling in his groove. He's not lighting up necessarily passing, but they don't really need him to. They have a really good defense, a good running game. They just need to make some plays, which he does. I don't see how this is going to be close, so Michigan goes there. All right, Oklahoma State and Oklahoma, bedlam, man. Oklahoma's found their way in shootouts all season. Oklahoma State, they're coming off a last-second loss to Baylor. Literally, Baylor scored a touchdown with 7 seconds left to win 35-31. Oklahoma State's offense, they still have Taylor Cornelius has been playing well this year. I I think their fans were kind of wanting to bench him, but nah, man, he's fine. Justice Hill, running back's really good running back. Tylan Wallace, 1,000-yard receiver. Justice Hill, he's at 895 rushing, so he should get 1,000 yards after this game. Oklahoma, you got a Heisman quarterback in Kyler Murray. He passes and throws all over the place. This will be fun to watch. I expect this to be high scoring. Oklahoma State, Oklahoma, I'm going to put them on upset alert. I'm going to definitely, because they almost lost to Texas Tech. Oklahoma State's got a really good, they always have a good offense. This will be fun. I'm definitely watching this. This will be fun. This will be shootout galore, I believe. Both teams should get to 30 minimum, maybe 40s. I know I've been kind of saying that all year, and then a team blows the other out, but it's an Oklahoma rivalry. And Oklahoma's defense has shown they can't stop anybody this year. Their offense is magnificent. They're fun. But Oklahoma State's fun to watch, too. So this will be back and forth. Oklahoma, I'm giving the edge to Oklahoma. I think in the end they win, but they're definitely on upset alert. All right, Washington State at Colorado. Washington State, Gardner Minshew lead the nation in passing yards per game. And probably in passing yards, I think. Javon McMillan at Colorado, really good running back. He'll probably get 1,000 and some, or 837. He could potentially. Washington State, Colorado, they're sliding. They started 5-0. They lost their last 4. They want to get to that bowl, but Washington State, they're number 8. They're trying to, potentially make it to the playoff. If they went out, maybe. Washington State, everything on their offense, they're fun. I love watching their offense. I've loved watching Mike Leach offenses since when he started at Texas Tech in 2001, I think it was. Washington State, what most people know is their defense. They're like a top 20 defense, basically. Top 15, top 20 in every category: rush, pass, total, scoring defense. So in the end, I think Washington State would be a little too much for Colorado. This will be a good game, I think, though. But Washington State, I think, comes out. Kentucky taking on Tennessee. Kentucky got murdered by Georgia, which I figured. Tennessee, they're kind of, they come on a little bit, at least on the way they've looked on the field. They're 4-5. They still have everything. They could potentially get a bowl. A win here would get to it. Kentucky has to go to Tennessee. Kentucky does have a really good running back in Benny Snell Jr. is over 1,000 yards. Their defense statistically is tops in the nation. They were number 1, and then Georgia exposed them. I feel like Kentucky is just overrated. They haven't played anybody good until Georgia. That includes Florida. They beat Florida. Clearly, Florida is not that good yet. I think Kentucky is smoke and mirrors right now. I've been saying it all year. They have 2 losses. I would not be surprised if they have 4 going into a bowl, which means you have 3 games left. At least 3, maybe lose the 4th in the bowl. I think they're way overrated. That being said, Tennessee still isn't back yet. I'm giving the edge to Kentucky, but I wouldn't be surprised. This goes either way in my head. I would not be surprised if Tennessee wins, but I'll give the edge to Kentucky with this one. Northwestern taking on Iowa. Northwestern, they played Notre Dame really tough. They had their chances to win. Iowa's, they just lost the last-second field goal to Purdue, 38-36. Northwestern has a good quarterback, Clayton Thorson. Nate Stanley, Iowa's been pretty, kind of a typical Iowa quarterback. He doesn't make a whole lot of mistakes. He'll make some plays when he needs to. Northwestern has everything in front of them for the Big Ten. They're 5-1 in the Big Ten. Iowa's got, they're bowl eligible. Northwestern's trying to get there. This will be a good game. That'll definitely be one that could go either way, back and forth. But it's in Iowa. I'll give the slight edge to Iowa. I think I picked Iowa. I don't know. I'm just looking here. Probably. Is that on here? Yeah, there it is. Okay, I'm going with Iowa. But I'm definitely watching. That'll be good. Baylor, Iowa State, now another good game. This will go either way. Iowa State's, they're 5-3. They're 1 away from bowl. Baylor, they almost beat Texas weeks ago. Then they got blown out by West Virginia. And then last week they beat Oklahoma State with 7 seconds left. Charlie Brewer, he seems to be back. He was kind of hurt, but he actually came in against Oklahoma State and led them to the win. He had 2 touchdown passes in that game. This is gonna go either way. This will be kind of fun. It could be Brock Purdy at quarterback. He's the quarterback for Iowa State. He's kind of he's giving them a spark. This will be that'll be a nice one. I'm going with Baylor though in the end. Like I said, it'll be fun. David Montgomery, running back for Iowa State. Hakeem Butler, wide receiver. Denzel Mims, wide receiver for Baylor. But both teams have some decent offensive players. Both teams are, they're going for that bowl game. They want a bowl, and they're both 5 wins. Whoever wins it will get bowl eligibility. Probably go to a bowl. But in the end, I go with Baylor. New Mexico Air Force. New Mexico Air Force is more of a straight triple option team. New Mexico is kind of a hybrid. Like if anybody has seen Arizona, when any of the Rich Rodriguez, like back when he was at West Virginia with Pat White and Steve Slayton, or even his couple years at when he had Denard Robinson at Michigan, or past years at Arizona with whoever they've had there, anybody there. That's sort of what New Mexico has been. New Mexico, they've had some decent leads and almost wins against like San Diego State last week. They're up by 9 in the 4th quarter. They couldn't hold on to it. This game should be close. I think I'm giving the edge to New Mexico in that one, but this one really could go either way. Both teams are 3-6, and both need to win out if they want to get to a bowl game. So they're both playing for a whole lot here. But I think New Mexico in the end should edge them. All right, Virginia Tech at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh. This is actually for the ACC side in the. I gotta look for sure in the ACC side in the. I think the Coastal Division. I always get them confused. Yeah, Pittsburgh. They're where's their conference? Whatever. Okay, so they're 4-1 in conference. Virginia Tech is 3-2 in conference. Virginia is actually 4-2. Like, it's really anybody's. Even going down in Miami, which is 6th or whatever in there, they're 2-3. But Pittsburgh's 4-1 in conference. Virginia is 4-2, and then Virginia Tech. This game is 3-2. So Virginia Tech needs to win if they want to win the Coastal, because then it'll set up a huge game in a few weeks after, or a week or 2 after that, between Virginia Tech and Virginia. So this is a really big game. Pittsburgh, they have 5 wins. They want to get to a bowl. Virginia Tech, like I said, and minus the bowl, they both want to win the Coastal. So whoever wins this one, the other one will pretty much be eliminated. There could be a round robin kind of scenario in the end here, because Pittsburgh just beat Virginia. If Pitt beats Virginia, and then Virginia Tech beats Pitt, and then Virginia beats Virginia Tech, they all have beaten each other basically. Fact check me on that. I was just doing it in my head. This will be a good game. Pittsburgh always plays tough defense. They have 2 good running backs, and Quadri Allison and I'm trying to think of his name. I think it's Evans is the guy running back. Darren Hall. That's right. They both really good running backs. Both have 7 rushing touchdowns each. Virginia Tech, though, Ryan Wells, the quarterback, since Josh Jackson got hurt weeks ago, Ryan Wells has actually been playing really well. He's really not the reason they've been losing. Oddly enough, their defense is sort of the reason, which is nobody ever says about Virginia Tech. For 25 years, they've had the best defense in the nation. Like, statistically, if I'm not mistaken, giving up, the least amount of yards, points, whatever. I think Virginia Tech, their pride's wounded. They lost to Boston College. They're kind of underperforming compared to what the expectations were going into the year. I think, like I said, their pride is hurt. I think they're going to come out swinging. I think they should beat Pittsburgh. It'll be a really good game. But I think Virginia Tech in the end, they get the win here. Purdue taking on Minnesota. Purdue's surprise of the year. They beat Iowa last week. They're 5-4. They're trying to get to a bowl. Minnesota basically laid an egg against Illinois. They lost 55-31. Illinois ran all over them. Minnesota has some stuff on offense. Tanner Morgan's been starting at quarterback. Tyler Johnson at wide receiver. He's got 875. He might be a 1,000-yard receiver for them. But Purdue quarterback David Blau's been, what's the name of the name again? It's David Blau. He's been playing really well. They have awesome talent at running back, at wide receiver. Rondell Moore, great wide receiver for Purdue. I think Purdue gets to that 6th win and wins that one. San Jose State, Utah State. This isn't going to be close. Utah State, they're like number 3 or 2 in the nation in scoring offense. I'm going to check it just right now just to be sure. Yeah, they're number 2 in the nation. They're averaging 50.1 points a game, right behind Alabama at 51. San Jose State is just terrible. Utah State, they might have 50 by halftime. They're just rolling this year. Appalachian State and Texas State. Appalachian State, really good Sun Belt team, 6-2, 4-1 in Sun Belt. They have potential here to maybe win the Sun Belt. I think they have to play Troy in a couple weeks. Texas State, Willie Jones III, their quarterback, he's back after being injured. And last week led them to a win. He threw for like 300 yards or whatever. Potentially they're working for a bowl. They're 3-6, so they're obviously they're going to be more motivated than normal in this. But I don't see it happening. I think Appalachian State ends up there. East Carolina, Tulane. Tulane's coming off a huge win against USF. East Carolina, they've been in there. They were in games against UCF. They were in game last week with Memphis. They lost 59-41. They passed it all over the place. Jerron Brown, one of the best running backs in a group of, or not running backs, one of the best wide receivers in the group of 5. But all that being said, I'm going to go with Tulane in this. I mean, they're kind of opposite. Tulane's more triple option sort of running team. East Carolina's kind of a Texas Tech air raid sort of offense. They just pass all over the place. So it could be potentially high scoring, but I'm going to go with Tulane there. Western Kentucky, Florida Atlantic. They're not as good as they last year were, but they beat a good Florida International team last week. Devin Singletary, one of the best running backs to ever play. And I'm not just saying that. He's got 62 rushing touchdowns, which is 9th all-time in NCAA history. He's got over 1,000 yards rushing. He's got 18 rushing touchdowns. Well, only 18. He had 32 last year. So and Western Kentucky has just... I feel bad to say it, but they've been terrible. They can't do anything on offense. They've had like 3 different quarterbacks this year. And not because they're hurt, just because they suck. So Florida Atlantic, they're not as good as they were last year, but they're 4-5. They're trying to get to a bowl. I think they'll go on their way here with a win. I wouldn't be surprised if they blow them out. All right, what I keep saying is Sunbelt has some good games. Arkansas State at Coastal Carolina, both 5-4. Arkansas State they've won or shared, I think, the last 7 Sunbelt titles, or at least 6 of the last 7, or something crazy like that. Coastal Carolina, they're in a 2nd year in the FBS. That Teal Field, it's on that Teal Field. They want to go to a bowl. Whoever wins this will get bowl eligibility. Coastal Carolina has a pretty decent running game. Arkansas State they passed it all over the place. Justice Hanson, really good quarterback. I'm going with Arkansas State here, but that'll be a fun game to watch. It could go back and forth. I mean, the quarterback situation is Coastal Carolina. They used 3 different ones this year. So it's sort of been kind of to their detriment, but they've still been able to win 5 games. So, whatever. But that'll be a good one. But I'll go with Arkansas State there. Georgia State taking on Louisiana. Louisiana, Sunbelt split in 2 this year, so they're 2 different divisions. Louisiana's only 1 game behind in that division. Georgia State, Dan Ellington, a quarterback. He can throw, he can run it. They've shown they can put up some points at times this year. At Louisiana, they were in close games against Troy and against Appalachian State. They only lost by 10 in each of them to the best Sunbelt teams. Trey Ragas at running back for Louisiana. He's got 840 rushing. Penny Hart, he's a really, really good receiver for Georgia State. I'm telling you guys, he's going to play on Sundays. He's a good receiver, good return guy. I'm going to go, this wasn't necessarily easy. Based on record, you would think so, but I think Louisiana in the end will get a win. They're trying to go get to a bowl and maybe win their side of the Sun Belt. We'll see. But I think Louisiana gets it there. All right, Louisiana Monroe, they're leading their side of the Sun Belt. Actually, they're playing South Alabama. South Alabama's kind of tricky, but Louisiana Monroe had a great win against Georgia Southern last week. They killed them 44-25. They held that triple option down. They have a decent offense. Caleb Evans, Derek Orr, running back. Caleb Evans is a really good quarterback for Louisiana Monroe. He can pass some. He can throw or run it some. They're 5-4. Like I said, they want to go to a bowl. They want to win their side of their division in the Sun Belt and play in the Sun Belt Championship potentially. So it's a big game for them. South Alabama, they're 2-7. They're kind of out of bowl. They're playing for pride right now. Of course, they're going to want to ruin Louisiana Monroe's season. But in the end, I'll go with ULM to win. Oregon at Utah. I mean, before last week, this was looking like it could be a really good game. Oregon has to go to Utah. Utah looks like one of the strongest teams. Utah did get killed last week by Arizona State. They lost 38-20, but more so than that, their quarterback, Tyler Huntley, he's out for this season. I think that's a big blow for them. They have a good running back, Zach Moss. He's got 1,000 yards rushing. Kyle Whittingham's a really great coach for Utah. They have a good. It's at Salt Lake City. Their defense. Oregon came off. They lost the last few games. They won last week. Justin Herbert, their offense, I think, is pretty good. I think Utah losing their quarterback is, to me, the difference. I probably would have gone with Utah had he, remained healthy. But I can't see that one. So I'm going to go with Oregon. It still should be pretty good anyway, but I'm going to go with Oregon there. Auburn at Georgia. This is all the potentials of an upset. Auburn's not great, but they have a lot of pride in that team. They have 6 wins. They want to show they're not bad. They came back from behind. They beat Texas A&M last week. They got to go to Georgia. Georgia smoked Kentucky. Georgia's kind of weird though. They kind of up and down. Like they're not as consistent. They have a good running game. A good team. They're an upset alert. I'm gonna say they are an upset alert. I'm gonna go with Georgia in the end. I think I actually might have picked Auburn. I did pick Auburn. I don't even know what I picked sometimes. Yeah, I'm gonna go with I felt this in my bones. This is all the makings of an upset. I think Auburn gets it done, and Georgia goes down. So watch it, Georgia. All right, Miami and Georgia Tech. Both teams have 5 wins. Miami's slid. They lost in their last 3 games. Georgia Tech leads the nation in rushing yards. Miami has some good running backs. Travis Homer, DJ Dallas. Their quarterback play has been not very good. They gotta fix that. Whoever wins this will be bowl eligible. The way Miami has been playing the last 3 games, I don't see how they can stop Georgia Tech. I'm not even sure how they can keep it close, to be honest with you. I'm going to go with Georgia Tech to win. I'm going to go with Georgia Tech to win this one. I don't even want to say it'll be a good game to watch because it might not be. But you know what? Whatever. I'll go Georgia Tech. Florida International 6-3 taking on UTSA. UTSA, they're 3-6. They have potential could make a bowl, but I'm gonna go with Florida International. James Morgan's been a pretty decent quarterback for them. Transfer from Bowling Green. I think talent-wise, Florida International's a little better. They're coming off being blown up by Florida Atlantic, but they're 4-1 in this USA. They have the potential to maybe win this USA, and this will go a long way towards that. They got to go to UTSA. UTSA, they kind of come out of nowhere every now and then and play good teams tough, but maybe not this week. So I think Florida National should win. Rice taking on Louisiana Tech. Now Rice has a 9-game losing streak, and they've been really bad. They're the team that UTEP beat last week. Louisiana Tech is a good USA team. They're trying to win their conference too. They got 6 games. They usually have a pretty good offense. Jamar Smith, the quarterback. I think Louisiana Tech should win pretty easily in that. All right, Temple Houston. This will be good. Both coming off losses. Temple almost beat UCF at UCF. Houston It's coming off being upset by Southern Methodist. Derek King at quarterback, he's one of the best in the country. Temple, Raquel Armstead, really good running back. Anthony Russo, he's shown some stuff at quarterback. He threw 4 touchdown passes, had 2 picks against UCF. One was kind of inconsequential late in the game. If Anthony Russo is on at quarterback, Temple might very well win this game. And this will be definitely one I'm going to watch, keep an eye on. Derek King, he's fun to watch. Houston's offense, they're fun to watch. This will be a really, really good game. And I'm going with Houston to, in the end to edge them. But, this will mean a lot for Group of 5. This means a lot for the American Athletic Conference. That's a significant game. Another pretty significant game, actually, USF going to Cincinnati. Cincinnati's 8-1. They're shown to be a really great team. They're one of the top offenses and defenses in the country. USF just got humiliated against Tulane, losing 41-15. They have potential on offense. Blake Barnett needs to step it up at quarterback. Their defense needs to step it up. For sure. USF, they're still kind of in it there. Kind of for the American, they're like 2 games behind UCF right now. I'm in Tampa. I'm gonna root for USF. Unfortunately, I'm picking Cincinnati to actually win. This game I want to be wrong with. Like I said, South Florida has the potential here to keep it close. But with the way they've been playing on defense, especially against Tulane, it's one thing against Houston they were to kind of keep pace with for a little while. But I don't know. I mean, Cincinnati's not a world beater in offense. They're good. Desmond Ritter's a good quarterback. He's a freshman though, but he's been playing beyond his years. It's one of those games, But I think Cincinnati should win. LSU against Arkansas. LSU's got blanked by Alabama. Arkansas has been okay. LSU might be an upset alert. I don't think LSU is quite as good as people thought they were. Because they're kind of looking back. If you look at it, they killed Miami to begin the season, and that's pretty much what shot LSU way up. But then Miami, they've lost 4 games. They lost to kind of mediocre teams, and mediocre to good teams, but mediocre teams. And LSU, they beat Georgia, but who's Georgia really beat? Kentucky, Florida, they've shown to being, I know idiots believe in Kentucky, but Florida's shown to not be anything, and Kentucky in the end will show to not be much of anything. So LSU's definitely on upset alert. I almost want to call Arkansas to win, but I'll go with LSU. I think maybe they can bounce back. But that'll be close. That'll come down. All right, Florida State at Notre Dame. Notre Dame, they play Florida State and Syracuse and USC. They could lose all 3. They could win all 3. I think they're going to lose at least one of them. I don't know if it's Florida State. Talent-wise, Florida State can keep up, but they've been just bad. But Notre Dame is still kind of overrated, I feel like. They beat Ball State by 8. They beat Vanderbilt by 5. They beat Pitt by 5. Northwestern is a pretty good Big Ten team and actually held their own, So Notre Dame hasn't really played anybody. They're on upset alert this week for sure. I'm going to go with Notre Dame in the end. Ian Book's a good quarterback. Dexter Williams is a pretty decent running back. They have Miles Boykin. They got some good receivers. Florida State's got the pride, though. They've been shit this year, but they have that pride. They're mad. They want to show that they're not as bad as they are, which they are. But I'll give the edge to Notre Dame, but they're on upset alert for sure. All right, Texas Tech. I want to watch this. This will be a shootout. It should be a shootout. Actually, I'm going to check right now. Alan Bowman at quarterback for Texas Tech. Earlier this year, he missed a couple of games because of a partially collapsed lung. In the first half against Oklahoma last week, he was 21-26 for 227, 2 touchdowns, no picks. And then he didn't play the rest of the game because of that collapsed lung. You know, he's still in the hospital. I kind of doubt he'll play this week. It's day to day. I kind of, if he plays, that'll be a shootout. That'll be fun. Texas Tech could potentially win. If he doesn't, Jet Duffy's, you know, the backup. He's shown he can do some stuff. He almost let him back against West Virginia and Oklahoma. But in the end, either way, I think Texas edges them. But this could be a shootout. This could be because Texas Tech lost last week 51-46. Texas lost last week 42-41. It could be same kind of thing, 41-38, 41-35, maybe 41-31. So if Alan Bowman doesn't play, that'll be fun. I'm definitely going to watch that. But I'll go with Texas in the end. Southern Miss taking on UAB. UAB's been phenomenal this year. They're 8-1 overall, 6-0 in CUSA, and pretty much have killed everybody. They beat the good teams. Southern Miss is coming off a nice win against Marshall. They kept their bowl hopes alive at 4-4. Their backup quarterback came in and beat a good, pretty good Marshall team, so that bodes well for them. They got to go to UAB. UAB has Spencer Brown running back, but put it this way: UAB had a freshman quarterback come in because their starter AJ Erdley was hurt, and he threw 3 touchdown passes and led them to a 52-3 win. So this could potentially be good. It depends on which Southern Miss team shows up. They've been up and down all year, but I think UAB should win that one. But that'll be one to watch. All right, Clemson taking on Boston College. On paper, Boston College, AJ Dillon, really great running back. Probably get 1,000 yards after this game. I think he's 105 away, or don't quote me on that. He's close somewhere. Clemson is Clemson. It would be great if Boston College won, upset them, and be a pretty big upset. I don't see it happening. Clemson's really, really good. They're almost in the same realm with Alabama. Almost, it's kind of weird the way it's worked. It's like Alabama's here. You have the top 4, right? Alabama's here. But then Clemson's sort of in their own realm themselves. They're not quite to Alabama, but they're still separate from everybody else. And I think that'll show up again against Boston College. All right, Oregon State at Stanford. Oregon State, Jamar Jefferson, a running back, really good running back, but Stanford's playing for a lot. They want to at least get to a bowl. They're 5-4, 1 win away. I think they should get that. Cal at USC. Both are 5 wins. Both want to get to a bowl. This should be pretty close. Cal on offense isn't great. They have a good running back in Patrick Laird. They have a really good defense, actually. USC, they got the talent. JT Daniels, a decent quarterback. He's a freshman still. Aka Cedric Ware, running back, ran for 205. Amon-Ra St. Brown, really good wide receiver, freshman receiver. This could be kind of close, but I'm going to go with USC in the end. A good rivalry game, though. UNLV taking on San Diego State. San Diego State, Juwan Washington's back at running back. I think that's all they need. UNLV has shown potential. Lexington Thomas, a really good running back. They've shown potential to put up points. But I think San Diego State, in the end, they should win. And they don't really blow teams out. They play really good defense. They just run. Chase Jasmine, even their backup running back, he filled in well while Juwan Washington was out. So now you got 2 basically really good running backs. I think that's all they really need. All right, Colorado State taking on Nevada. Nevada wants to go to a bowl. Colorado State, they have a pretty decent passing game with KJ Carter-Samuels and Preston Williams, one of the better wide receivers in the nation. He's got 951 receiving. He should get 1,000 after this game. And Colorado State, they are 3-6. If they win out, they could go to a bowl, but I don't think it'll happen. Nevada, they're 1 win away from going to a bowl. Ty Ganji, quarterback, Toa, running back. They got Caleb Fossum, a wide receiver. They got some pretty good players, and I think they'll end up with the win there. So there's my Saturday previews. Check out all the other videos. Like, subscribe, share our videos. Please watch them all. Thank you. Peace.